We are live all the way live. Man, um, this has been really good doing this show. It forces me on Wednesdays to really think midweek about what's going on in culture, despite anything going on in my business, my family, my personal life. I really appreciate just showing up, and I appreciate you showing up and tuning in every Wednesday. Welcome to Culture and Co. Welcome to Culture and Co. Weekly, the show where we give away cheat codes for free. I don't know why I do this, but I give them away for free. I do this because I really appreciate the community of folks that I'm connected to. I appreciate the Authenticated. It's a community of folks that we have curated. We're 300 plus deep. Pretty excited about the folks that call Authenticated at least one of the virtual cities that they play in this year. We are opening up membership to the Authenticated. Text me, DM me, something me, and you can find out. We have a registration form that's out there, and we're looking for a few good women and a few good men. So black, brown, yellow, Puerto Rican, or Haitian, by the way. I want to start this week's show by acknowledging brother Curtis Blow. If you don't know Curtis Blow, he's one of the first MCs to bring home a gold record, and he is just went through a heart. I think it's a heart transplant. If I'm not mistaken. I may correct me if I'm wrong, but and we are praying for him and his health. And really just my thoughts go out to all of you who are, I live in Los Angeles, as you can probably tell from this LA hat. COVID the numbers are up. We're a city that's pretty much on lockdown right now. And it's a really tough time. It's a tough time for me personally. I have some other family stuff going on right now. Tough time. So my heart goes out to a lot of you out there who are going through a tough time. Holiday season. Here we go, end of a crazy ass year, a really, really crazy ass year. So a couple things I want to talk on. Today's show, I'm pretty excited. We are going to be joined by actor Faizon Love. And Faizon is a new friend. And Faizon is currently, he's done a lot of things. We won't just talk about this, but one of the big things that Faizon's in the news for is the fact that Faizon is suing Universal Pictures for discrimination. So we're going to talk about that when he gets on. I see him waiting in the green room, which is cool. But before we get to that, I want to talk this week a little bit about Complex Con. Complex Con is a show that's put on by Complex Magazine. To give you a little more context, in 1998-99, I was basically the chief marketing officer. I don't know if I necessarily had that title, but I was the most senior dude in marketing at Echo Unlimited. Echo Unlimited was a fashion brand that was started by a guy named Mark Echo, and I was the CMO of that brand. If y'all remember, it had a rhino on it, Mark Echo was an interesting guy. He still is. He's a very, very interesting guy. And he builds a magazine called Complex Magazine. And Complex Magazine is sort of a leader in culture, conversations, sneaker culture, hip hop, music. And they create something called Complex Con in Long Beach. Complex Con is probably, they probably did about 3 years of Complex Con. And, it's 4 days, 10,000 people, all the sneaker drops, all the fashion drops, pretty successful. They used to call it the internet in real life. You would walk around Complex Con, you see all the, the fashion brands doing drops. And then about year 2, year 3 at Complex Con, you would see big brands, like random big brands too. You had like McDonald's there, but you had like Adobe. You had really, really large brands that really were trying to find what I call their fountain of youth. and they would go to ComplexCon. ComplexCon, obviously, in the middle of COVID, took a pivot and went virtual, and they now have something called I think it's called Complex World, complexworld.com, and it's sort of being talked about by a lot of folks in brands, in the marketing world, because what they're really combining is this avatar video game like experience with retail. So you have a lot of retailers, a lot of brands doing drops there still. So they're in day 3. Highly recommend go check them out. CEO Rich Antonello is a good guy. I know him. I think that, is it perfect? No. It's clunky. I don't think it's, I think it's cool. Is it a moment? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a moment because we're going to start to see websites go from 2D to 3D. And we're starting to see commerce and content come together in a really unique way. And, I heard Nike's probably, I think the brand, the cost for a spot in ComplexCon, the live thing I'm talking about, is between $500,000 and $1 million. So brands are paying, $500,000 to $1 million to be in this virtual space. It's just an interesting moment, I think, for brands. We're gonna go into 2021 with a lot of brands spending a lot of money in Q1. We're gonna see a rise in Black History Month dollars being spent. I'm already seeing that. You're gonna have a lot of money, a lot of bread coming into the market for Black History Month. We're not gonna have an all-star week. When you're in culture, I call January to let's just call it June. The first 2 quarters of the year, when you take Grammys, Super Bowl, NBA All-Star Weekend, South by Southwest, there's a lot of bread being spent. So when you take those events out of the market, there's just a lot of available dollars. And we're working on something right now for Super Bowl in the virtual space, and I see South by Southwest is trying to go virtual, but there's a shifting of the dollars right now that I think is really interesting, and we have our eye on it clearly. We are not an agency, but we play with a lot of technology companies that spend a lot of money. We spend a lot of time in the venture capital world. So, I have a phrase which is really follow the money. And so, we like to follow the money, and the money looks like from a marketing brand perspective, it's going to be shifting into new worlds. And so when you look at ComplexCon, you look at this sort of new virtual space, and you look at Roblox, what they just did with Lil Yachty. You look at Travis Scott and what he did with Fortnite. We're going to see an influx of virtual worlds and celebrities coming together in a really interesting way. We're going to see an influx of commerce, so retail and virtual worlds coming together in a really interesting way. So keep your eye on that. I certainly am. We at The Authenticated are. We're building something. We just launched, if you guys were following us, we did a 3-day summit last week on the future of cities. We have a platform that we play with called Topia. You can go check us out at topia.io/The Authenticated. We're going to be doing a bunch of stuff in the virtual space there. So yeah, it's an interesting time to be in the brand marketing space. Thank you, Isarbe. Yes, Black Women's, Asian Pacific, Gay Pride, Black Music Month. It's all the thing from January to June has historically been this sort of celebration. And thank you for pointing that out. And we're looking at that. I think what we're fascinated by right now is corporate America, with all of these promises they've made, during Black Lives Matter, are we going to see some of that bread? Are we going to see a real commitment? I saw $100 million commitments. I saw $50 million. I saw $5 commitments. The question is, are we going to see where that spend happens? Are we going to see brands really own up to the promises, the commitments they made? I'm not talking about just hiring the black PR person. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you committed $100 million. I need to see some receipts right now. I need to see like where has $10 million gone into something, and it's not good enough to just say, oh, we hired Bozema or whatever. Whatever. No disrespect to Bozema, Netflix, but they always hire Bozema whenever there's a black problem. And I just need to see more than Bozema. That's all. No disrespect to you, Bozema. But we need more than Bozema's. We need a real commitment. We need to see that the brands that we support, the brands that we put in the business. And I've been talking a lot about that. And even Complex magazine. I have checked them a few times, and I love that they have ComplexCon. There are not a lot of black people that work at Complex magazine, and I've had that conversation with them. So it's cool that you guys are doing sneaker culture and you're celebrating, but I need to see some black folks in senior positions at places that we are vital and integral to your success. It's like, I've been pretty hard. We had Stephanie from Clubhouse on here a few weeks ago. I have been equally vocal about some of these online platforms. We as one of my friends, Jeff Dixon, who manages Ludacris, likes to say, we are always the oil, never the machine. At a certain point, we need to be the machine, and we need to build the machines, or we need to see congruence. So not the symmetrical relationship between your investors, your executive team, and your users need to be consistent. And that's the call out. That's what I do a lot. I call out, okay, when I look at your cap table, for those of you that follow investment world, companies build investment, a group of people who are the early investors. That's called a cap table. And when there's incongruence between your cap table, meaning the people who have been able to put money in the deal, and the executive team and your users, I have a problem, because it's really difficult to get into deals. It's really difficult for a lot of these tech. You could have $10 million, you could be big baller, have a lot of money, and you're still not going to get an opportunity to invest in these companies. And that's a real problem. And so I'm certainly one to call that out. It doesn't mean that everybody that has $1 million can invest in a company or should invest in a company. And the company has the right to choose who they are going to put on their cap table. Totally recognize that. My challenge to companies who are trying to build what they call 21st century modern companies: save your blacked out Instagram pages. Save that. We don't need that. We want justice in the form of economic opportunities. And so that's really where I come down. That's where I lay the hammer down on these things. And so Complex, shout out to you guys. Awesome. You need more people of color on your team. Clubhouse, awesome. Pushing you guys, as you guys well know, to, and Clubhouse really has become the blackest thing I've ever seen. Clubhouse has become Lenox Mall. Like really, it has become like, it went from all white venture capitalists to the blackest thing I've ever seen. And while that's great, again, and while we are, the amount of time that black people, I'm speaking of black people specifically, the amount of time that we spend on Clubhouse increases the load, increases the valuation of the company, increases the opportunity. It'd be great to see symmetry between the cap table, the users, the executive team, and shout out to Andreessen Horowitz. They're the folks that introduced me to this Clubhouse app. That's great. But we need to make sure that when we look at all things symmetrically, that it's all congruent. And that's a challenge for all companies. I don't mean to just come down on Clubhouse, because I'm looking at all y'all. And it really is, because I know, I spent the last 4 years unpacking venture capital, unpacking, and getting opportunities for celebrities, ball players, whatever's, and just people of color, women, marginalized communities, to really understand and demystify, this game. And I just feel like part of it is I've recognized that it's really difficult to get into deals. And it's primarily because if you're, someone who starts a company, you're not really thinking about, you're thinking about, I want a rapper or I want a ball player, because I want to put a press release out, but you're not thinking about the creative value, the opportunity, or even the fact that as you rise and you IPO or you have an exit event, right? That like you're creating economic opportunities for a whole bunch of people. And the other thing I'll just, I think that 2021 and 2022 become the creative renaissance years. I think all this pent up creativity, all of this technology. So you look at Patreon just raised 90 million and $1 billion valuation. I may have the numbers off, something around there. It's $1 billion valuation. I can't remember what they raised. You look at actually crazy about this. OnlyFans has returned more money to its creators than any other platform. I just saw this stat the other day. You guys can check me on that one. OnlyFans is doing 230 million, something crazy, like $200 million a month in creator revenue to their creators, which is actually more than TikTok's. I mean, it's like 8 times more than TikTok's creator fund. I mean, all these companies are out there saying, hey, we have creators on our platform. People are underestimating OnlyFans. It's a giant out there. And so when you look at things like OnlyFans, TikTok, Snapchat, Patreon, and you look at creative talent, you look at singers, rappers, comedians, boom, right? You start to look at 2021, 2022 differently. And you start to say, this is going to be the year of, 2022 is going to be the year of the creative explosion. It's going to be a creative renaissance like we haven't seen before. Why is my dog in the back? Hey, my dog is in the backyard. Hold on, what? Hold on. Chili's in the backyard. Okay, see, my dog is out there. We got coyotes and stuff out there. I live damn near in Serengeti out here in LA. Listen, so I said this earlier. We had a dinner. We did these Jeffersonian dinners in virtual space. And I actually said this in March. I had Brian Dobbins. I had 10 managers on. And managers of music. I had Carmelo's manager. I had everybody. I was like, if you're a creative, I said this in March, beginning of the pandemic. If you're a creative, you're looking at your manager real sideways right now. You're like, you better be getting to work. And I think that managers, agents, all of them, are being called to question right now because the creative can put the control in their hands. And and so if you're a manager and you don't understand digital or technology right now, or you're an agent, you're irrelevant. And I had a call yesterday. I won't even name which agency, with one of the big ones with 3 letters. And I have a real odd relationship with the 3-letter agencies. They're necessary because they run the businesses, that we're in, sports, music, all the things, right? DJs. This one was about a DJ yesterday. But y'all got to work, man, and y'all got to realize that the creative today, and that's a big category for those who call themselves creative, has the power, has the control, and I think 2021, 2022 becomes a massive, massive year. And lastly, before I see Faizon's in the green room, we're going to bring him on next. I just want to shout out that another thing that I'm keeping my eye on, Culture & Co. Weekly is about the trends, the things we see that are happening. It's fresh off the dome. I never have a plan for this thing. My team, we generally have people every once in a while. We generally are about a week out from booking guests. But in terms of what I talk about, this is fresh Krispy Kreme donuts. The lights are flashing right now. The lights are flashing. The other cultural shout out I want to give to is Miami. Miami is experiencing an incredible influx of tech folks. So what happens is, when San Francisco and Silicon Valley goes dead, goes dark, folks are like, well, why do I need to live in SF, or why do I even need to live in these cities? So a lot of my friends especially who have money, have moved to Hawaii, Miami, some LA. I think, California's got so many challenges, and LA's got so many issues. I feel like we have not been the receiver of a lot of this, but Austin, Texas, Miami, and Hawaii have been the three places that have really seen an influx of new growth. And so I just want to shout out Miami. I was tweeting this morning with my folks in Miami. We built a tour called Culture and Code, which is how this whole thing all started 4 years ago. And Miami is one of the cities that we spent a lot of time in. So shout out to Matt Hagman, who is at the Knight Foundation, my man Brian Brackeen at Lightspeed Venture Capital out there, Black venture capitalists doing great things out there. Shout out to the whole Miami community. My son went to University of Miami, so I'm a Kane dad. Really, really love the Miami market, and happy that you're starting to get folks out there who are calling Miami home. I think it's a beautiful place. I think it's got a weird scene. It's a weird place. I'm like, Miami, off of South Beach, which South Beach has gone through its own challenges right now. I mean, South Beach, the part of the beach that I used to hang out with in the 90s was relatively horrible and dead. And then the upper part of the beach is really experiencing something. And I know I'm just giving a high flyover, but I really love downtown Miami. I love what's happening in Wynwood, and we were able to connect with some incredible founders and investors out there. And shout out to my kids out there at South Northern High School out there by Miami Dolphin Stadium, one of the most challenging communities in Miami, but with some beautiful, beautiful kids out there that we got to spend time with. And I found out, this is a crazy story, I found out I was Bahamian. So now I have a whole Bahamian crew out there in Miami. Didn't know my father, thought my father was from St. Thomas, but found out later he's from the Bahamas. So found out I have a whole crew there. Okay, without further ado, I'm gonna bring in Mr. Faizon Love.
Man, I can listen to you all day long, bro. You mean I can just sit here and listen. I don't need to. I was like, there's so much knowledge. I didn't know you worked for Mark. I still have a watch I got from him.
Echo watch?
Yeah, Echo watch was it's like a it has a eel skin band.
Okay.
And it's not diamonds on it. It was really
right. Wait, huh? I think I remember this. Keep talking. It's coming back to me.
A rose gold. It was done really well. I still have a watch. And,
yeah, we did do a watch.
Oh yeah, it was dope. I got it for free.
Of course.
You guys had a office on Sunset or something. Somebody was like, "Hey man, these people want to give me this stuff." I was like, it was these shirts that I couldn't fit. And with the watch, I was like, "Yo, this is really flashy." But I was like, I think I want to watch like maybe 2 times, but it's so flashy every time I wore it. Man, what kind of watch is that? It looked like a Frank Mueller Conquistador.
Mark Echo is a genius designer. He was a visionary. I mean, he's a Star Wars fan. He's really a design savant. And he started off being the kid in South Jersey who was airbrushing like the BB. You remember you see BBD had those airbrushed overalls, remember? Right? That was right. That was Mark Echo. That was where Mark Echo, aka Mark Milovkovsky, a Jewish boy from South Jersey.
Oh, he was those jack. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Every mall had that guy in it. Like, what do you want? Oh, I want the Bruce Lee with the turntable.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Mark Echo was. And yeah, man, on the free goods, man, let me tell you, when I worked there, we had no money. So crazy thing is, I used to, his partner at the time, this guy, Seth Gersberg, he used to be like, come on, get the celebrities. Who you got? It was like horse trading celebrities. And I didn't have any budget, so I was expected to go out there and make it happen with celebrities. And one of my boys worked at EA Sports, and they had a game called Knockout Kings. And basically, he gave me, my boy at EA Sports gave me Easter eggs. So basically, I could go and customize boxers in the game. And so I went to Marlon Wayans, Too Short, Jermaine Dupri, and I convinced them that they would be in a video game. And then I needed them to appear in a source ad. Remember the source ads?
Yeah.
Look, in 1998, 99, I hustled all these dudes to do these source ads for me in exchange to be an Easter egg in a video game. And it was my hustle back then. So we would give you all free clothes because, that was our.
It was literally bags. It was 2 bags. And fly shit. There was this jacket.
Yeah.
I like this little thing. She's up there. Agree. James could always go.
yeah, man. This is a real show, man. It's a real show. All right,
your knowledge is so deep in how you break shit down, because I always tell people, because you tell you were there. You were the fly on the wall, and you worked. You know what I'm saying? So this knowledge is like talking to Harry Belafonte. Who was like saying Dale? First, I start saying Dale. Dale is the time of the day. And I was like, it's brilliant, man. It's like
where I used to sit with Clarence Avant, and when I would come to LA, he had a table at the Four Seasons.
Clarence Avant Jr.
So my point is, I channel Clarence Avant, right? And so Clarence would sit in the corner at this table at the Four Seasons on Doheny, and he would tell me the same story every time. It was 60s. It was me, and Quincy, and we was in Cannes. We rode from Cannes and went to Paris. And he would tell these stories, man. And it's funny that you say it's like the fly on the wall. I think about that and the fact that, the 90s culture is so popular now. And me and my man, No ID, Dion, we always say, but were you really in the room? Like, there's a difference between people who were like saying they were in the room,
and they were hearing about the room.
So
you were there.
I was there. I was really there. And, it was such a small community. That's why it's been so great catching up with you, because I feel like I have only known you a short amount of time, but I feel like I've known you a long time because we were clearly in the same rooms. And it's so crazy that the connection, or I got to know you through your lawsuit, which we're going to get into. Even that was crazy because, Negro, I remember Peter Billingsley. I got Peter Billingsley laid one night. Like Peter Billingsley kicked
my kid.
Right. Messy Marvin? I was pimping Messy Marvin around, and he was like, because Vince wasn't anybody. So it was me, Vince Vaughn, and Messy Marvin, and Little Red. So Peter Billingsley, if you guys don't know, was the Little Red Ryder BB gun guy, but he was our most famous guy in our crew in LA, because Vince Vaughn wasn't anybody. So we would just be like, yo, this is. So he was the lead. He was the lead dog to get us on the. But I would. It's funny that we have this funny, crazy, ironic. I don't know the word for it. That we have this connection, and then I haven't talked to Vince Vaughn in 20 years, by the way. But when I saw Swingers, that was kind of my life in college. That's why I dropped out of UCLA, because my life was basically hanging out at Vince Vaughn's house on Rossmore, playing video games, and then we would go to Hollywood Athletic Club in the Dresden. I was like, that was my whole life in movie. That's crazy. I didn't wear all the funny suits.
You were the black guy in that movie.
I was the black guy. I was the black guy. I was. Hey, I was. What a time in LA, man. And it was so good to it's funny. I told you that my Vince Vaughn story when Vince Vaughn, who claimed to be Golden Gloves, whooped this essay's ass on Sunset Boulevard. And then you told me you were managed by Norm Nixon, which that was crazy. I didn't even know Norm Nixon was a manager. I forgot that part.
Norm Nixon owned the Roxbury.
Norm Nixon owned the Roxbury. For those of you listening, Roxbury was a very famous club on Sunset Boulevard. It was a, there's something about that time period. There was no Soho House. There was no, like, you were either in or you were not. Like, there was no, you couldn't just, like, there was no in between. You know what I mean? Either you had some juice or you didn't, You
knew. There was always that one guy with 4 girls that would go right past you. Who is he? I was a guy. Should we be letting these guys in here? I had juice. Norm Nixon was so, man.
That's crazy.
So cool. And Debbie, Debbie would always chime in. It was really, really fortunate. I mean, you think about it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Keep on.
I was just fortunate of the people who cultivated our thinking.
Yeah.
And let us. Norm Nixon didn't make one dime. I mean, I had the baby's kid, and he was like, "Oh yeah, brother, yeah." And then the baby kid check ran out. I was like, Norm, we would eat at George's for free.
Yeah. George's.
When George's was beginning, I remember them picking out the plates.
Wow.
And Brad, and I was like, yo. So it's like, man, you can't come here every night, Faizon. So you see, the stomach came from George's.
Right. That was before the gangsters showed up, though. Shout out to George's. Rest in peace, George's.
That was
crazy. Yeah, it was some crazy times. So you, I mean, I'm not going to go because we've done it on Clubhouse. I'm not going to go all the way back to San Diego and all the stories. I did find you have an interesting background because I assume you're military because you lived in Newark, San Diego, born in Cuba, which you and I hit on texting the other day. Cuba is Cuba.
Yeah. People don't understand what Cuba is. They think it's Tony. I always hated that movie, Scarface.
Yeah.
Because you had a white guy playing this Cuban accent. I mean, there's some Cubans with that accent, but so everybody thinks, I'm fight. That's annoying. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I was the only one, and back then, I mean, we knew what the drug culture was in Miami, and it wasn't him. It wasn't a guy. It was a girl. It was a lady.
Right.
It was like what?
Right.
So as a kid, I never understood why black people always would put the poster like that is not. That is not a good depiction. It's actually really racist.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I didn't peep that till I went to Cuba and got, my indoctrination and was like, okay.
And where the fuck is Tony with that? Hey, come on out. Let me tell you something about my friend. You know, oxtails. You get oxtails in Cuba.
Right.
You try oxtails in Cuba?
I didn't get oxtails in Cuba. No, they got oxtails in Cuba. Oh, wow.
What?
Wow.
What?
I didn't know that.
You understand how close Cuba is to Jamaica?
Right. It makes sense.
Haiti.
Right. Exactly. It makes sense.
It's like they make it seem like it's. That's why it's hard to get that. Even the discussion about Fidel, but it's like it's hard to trust me.
And you're bilingual.
No, I'm the worst. I understand, but I'm the worst.
Did you ever try to learn Spanish?
I can understand. I mean, I can all the nasty words. You know,
Yeah.
that was one of my first, saying Pinocha. My beta guy.
PJ Mayate. Did you now you're a car guy. I heard we was on with Eric B the other day on Clubhouse. Eric, thank you for the intro to Eric B. No, I don't. He's like one of the rappers. I know a lot of old school rappers. I didn't know Eric B and Rakim. Love the story about his hook and his boxing prowess.
Oh man, I met Eric B in New York in '85. And this one he was Eric B.
Okay.
He was in front of Dapper Dan's. He had like 3 or 4. They had they call it 25 cent waters.
Right, quarter water. Yeah.
And he had like 3 or 4. I remember he had it because I was saying, I'm like, damn, it's Eric B. And it was like, I'm like, oh, I want to shake his hand. I was like, he was cool. And then come. Because you see these guys, but they were bigger than life.
Yeah,
they're grown, but we the same. He's like a year older than me.
Right.
I'm like, what? Wow.
I know.
Hey, man. So someone told me to write a book, and I was like, yeah. This shit can't fit in the book.
So you're I didn't realize that you're a car guy too.
Yeah. But we fix up 64s and 65s, and right now doing a 63 with airbags. Airbags versus juice. If you guys know what low riding is.
Right.
Older cars, not like Eric B was riding a Rolls Royce since then.
Right.
So I was surprised he switched over to the truck. But yeah, right. I like vintage. This weird cars. People, I still have my 500 SL from '99.
Oh wow! Okay.
A motherfucker. Because Pac had a black one. And and I was like, oh shit! I remember because that, same car had 2 tops, and it was like, man, he had to put the top over Pool's house or something. I was like, damn, they had to do it. I was like, this shit's kind of cool. And the shit was just fast. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get one of those. And then '99.
You think that's a California influence? I know because we're from California and growing up in California.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the California influence is, when you grow up in the Bay, you would have like a sidecar, right? Like you have a nice car. The D Boys would have a nice car, and then they would have like
the get around car.
Yeah, like the tear up car.
Really 3 cars, the rental. Get around and do stuff in.
Right. Right.
But yeah, California, listen, we've been a car culture. That's the one thing in New York I've never understood.
Yeah.
And they would just sit on your car. I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
Just sit. Just take it. Just start smoking a cigarette. I'm like, yo, are you crazy? Like, but then I noticed every car, if you look even now, every car in New York has a dent in it.
That's right.
Every car in New York has a dent in it.
That's right.
The pristine ones come from Connecticut and Jersey. The ones that you can tell that ain't a New York car.
Yeah, that's right. That's so right.
He's parking that in the garage because that motherfucker clean.
But you know what? But you know what? It's funny. Speaking on the car stuff, I also think it influences music, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
We grew up with systems in the car, and the music had to sound a certain way, had to hit, it had to sound. They grew up with Walkmans on the subway train, and cars were this, and the music didn't come through the same way. So the music sounded muddied. That's why Biggie's album was so important, because it was mixed more like a West Coast record. Like Dr. Dre, the way that Dr. Dre mixed that record, was uncanny. It is incredible. People don't even realize like the mix on our records, and we're influenced because it had to sound good when you're sitting in the barbershop, like boom, boom. Like I remember that's how we heard records by bass lines when we were in the barber chair and a car would go by. So there's a difference between the way records were made in the East Coast and the West Coast. And because that muddy kind of dark sound, Black Moon, I think in New York, I think of Black Moon. I think in like New York records just sound muddy. Wu-Tang, we like crisp, you know what I'm saying? Like almost record.
At some point in Harlem, though, you knew when a record was. I remember the first time hearing "Brothers and Sisters."
Yes.
3 Jeep available in New York was playing. Chuck D. Public. Every Jeep, Brothers and Sisters, and they had this mix show on. Damn it.
Red Alert? No.
Red Alert had one on WHBI and
BAU college radio. Is it?
It was 95. The Latin Rascals.
Okay.
And but it's so funny. The first rap station was in California.
K-Day.
So bumping that every day.
Yeah.
Right. Listen to and he.
Damn.
He makes movies now.
Who, the guy who started K-Day?
So he's just Benny got a big. There's a roach. Oh come on, the DJ. Oh my God, he's a DJ in DC now, but he makes movies now.
DJ in DC that makes movies. I can't.
Oh my God! As soon as I say it, he was a DJ.
Greg Mack. Okay, sorry. By the way, shout out to Adrian Miller on the check-in. Curtis Adrian. He said, Curtis, wait, me and Adrian worked together at Immortal Records. I worked on Volume 10. Pistol Grip Pump. I'm
gonna fuck your head up right now. I heard Pistol Grip Pump, and Adrian says, I work for that record. I said, you better stop playing. He gave me a single because you guys' office was off of Robertson.
Robertson, yeah. Happy Walton. Yeah.
It was on Robertson, right across from Luna Park.
That's right.
So wait, I said, Adrian, you got to give me this goddamn. He gave me a single with Pistol Grip Pump, instrumental, and the acapella.
Yep.
I have it till today.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
For those but people right now don't really understand. Pistol Grip Pump Volume 10 was produced by the Baker Boys and Adrian Miller. Yes. Adrian Miller says, I love Faizon. I'm gonna put that up on here. So Pistol Grip Pump is an important record, and plus because Volume 10 came from The Good Life, right? So, and then it just with that beat and his lyricism, it was a whole different thing that Adrian was doing at that time.
Ice cream was hot.
He said, what he said about ice cream? Look at Gorilla.
Pretty short. Fucking Gorilla. Because he had Gorillas in the Mist.
Yeah, exactly.
That Pistol Grip, you put Pistol Grip Pump on right now.
Right. It still goes.
Oh, did you hear Rage Against the Machine's version? So please, oh my God. You didn't know that?
Did I hear Rage Against the Machine?
Rage Against the Machine has a version of Pistol Grip Pump. And it goes with the whole, I hang with my dogs, man.
Really? No, I don't think I know that one.
Adrian, look it up right now.
He said, Adrian said he did the Rage version. He said with Rick Rubin. Okay. Oh, I didn't even know that. Wow. Damn.
It's bananas.
Man. And I've heard people sample Pistol Grip Pump and other records too. I heard that same thing, man. It's crazy.
No, it's one of the. He's definitely one of the. That's a solid California record. Baker Boys did. I'm like, how did? He said, "Hey, crazy. I love it on this kid."
Yeah, I've been knowing Adrian Miller. Adrian got me the job. Adrian got me my first. I was working at a record label on Melrose. There used to be Spike's joint on Melrose.
Yeah,
right down the street from Spike's.
You were at Delicious Vinyl?
No. The label called Wild West Records. It was me and the owner, and by the way, we had all of Battle Cats publishing, and we had a record called by the Knots called Mixtapes. I sell mixtapes down in MC. Yeah. It was and God bless Adrian Miller. He rescued me out of that ghetto and brought me over to Immortal Records, and we all worked for a guy named Happy Walters. I don't know if you remember.
I know Happy Walters. I know that.
Well, he was allegedly kidnapped by Suge, and but that's probably where you know his name from. But we managed Cypress Hill and House of Pain, and we managed Muggs. So so Happy managed Muggs, and then Happy went off to Relativity Sports and became an agent and represented Amari Stoudemire. Shout out to Happy Walters. I talked to him the other day. He's living in Puerto Rico. Another city that's experiencing a flood of people is Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico is. Listen, I used to live in East Verde.
Oh, you did? Okay.
When I first got divorced, I was like, I was just left the house, and I was in Costa Rica, and you can only live in Costa Rica for 30 days if you're not a resident there. You have to leave.
Wow.
So I would leave and go to the water tower in East Verde in Puerto Rico.
Wow.
We did because we did a movie there with Bing Rames.
Okay.
Called with Terrence Howard. Me and Terrence Howard, we just was what the hell was this movie?
Well, you can't remember the movies that you made.
I can't remember. But me and Terrence Howard, we brought a family out, and we was Bing Rames like yo Faizon. We was doing this movie. God damn it, Idlewild, and Bing Rames like, yo, I want to film a movie in Puerto Rico. Faizon. So he's like, yo, we went out there and it blew my mind. I was like, yo.
Wow.
And after that, I got divorced. Like, yeah, I'm not ready for marriage. Yeah, that it's so crazy how close, like you said.
Yeah.
We keep, I've been we were kids.
We were kids.
Kids together, you know what I'm saying? So we were always. Do you remember Water in the Bush?
Yeah, it's a club, right?
Yeah.
Matt Robinson or something? His spot?
Oh, Islam.
Oh, yeah, right.
Whip a whip.
Right.
Right.
Oh man, yeah, man. LA was such a different, and the creative culture. And a lot of the work that I do these days is really thinking about cities and how cities integrate, business creativity, culture, how it all comes together, right? And when you think about LA back then, like, and I didn't know shit about shit then, but when I can zoom out now and think about the business, the group of people that came out of that creative economy, peep this. Ava DuVernay and I went to college together. Ava DuVernay interned for me at Immortal Records. Yes. Ava DuVernay was an MC while at the Good Life Cafe while we were at UCLA. Ava DuVernay has a whole past before she becomes the Ava DuVernay you know.
She's fucking brilliant. I mean, I saw that film she did. When they look at what is that about the
right? About the Harlem Five. Yeah,
it's really. Have you seen it?
No,
Listen,
I know. I'm embarrassed to say I didn't see it.
Fucking brilliant. I was like, yo, how did she get this shit perfectly right? Perfectly right.
Right.
Not close. Perfectly right.
Wow.
Like,
wow.
Perfectly right. I was like, oh.
Let me tell you, she had a PR firm. We were going to start a business together at one point.
I think they have a crush on me. I think they have a crush on each other. I don't want to put it on.
She does come into every clubhouse room that we're in. But she started a PR firm, and we were going to do a business together, and she never lets me live this down. She said, "Hey, I'm gonna do my first film." You know, at the time I owned a social media agency, and I was at the top of my game in social media. And she was like, "I need your help. I need your help." Yo, Faizon, I didn't call her back. I got busy. I was like, "Ava, I'm too busy." I look up, and Ava became best new director at Sundance. And as her thing was starting to rise, I seen her one day. Maybe it was Essence Fest or something. She was like, "Nigga, I told you."
Get on my call list, nigga.
Get on my call list. Shout out to Ava DuVernay. We are following each other. No, we DM'd the other night when she was in the room. I have a lot of respect for Ava DuVernay. Ava DuVernay was and she was on campus. You know, she I don't want to put dirty out there. She was either dating. Yeah, I think she dated Ed O'Banion.
Ed O'Banion.
Remember Ed O'Banion played for UCLA?
Stop playing.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a star of our team. Man, Ed O'Banion now Ed O'Banion is he sued the NCAA for name and likeness because they were using his name in video games. He's one of the big voices, and funny we're talking lawsuits because we're going to get to your lawsuit in a second. But Ed O'Banion, who's like selling used cars in Las Vegas right now, he really is. It's not a joke. He actually was selling used cars in Las Vegas. He was one of the top players. I mean, he was one of the top players in the country. McDonald's All-American. Went to UCLA, had a knee injury. He was a friend of mine. We used to leave UCLA and go to Roscoe's and just like eat all that. Man, I love the Roscoe's on Gower. Listen, the Roscoe's on Gower was our Soho house.
Listen.
I'm sorry. We're just pivoting. We have no direction on this show.
Roscoe's on Gower was safe. Roscoe's on Pico, you had to be like, so trust me, Roscoe's on Gower.
You're safe. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a funny story because we would go to Roscoe's on Gower, and one day this dude sweatsuit, his hair's pulled back, and he says, "Man, I really like your work." I said, "Oh, thanks, man. You know what? I want you to play me one day." I was like, "Who's this nigga? He want me to play you?" And he gave me his card, but man, keep in touch with me because I want you to play me, right? And I always said his demeanor was like Suge and Luther Vandross combined.
Right.
Right? I was like, who is this nigga? And it was, that's Maurice Starr.
Wow. Wow.
Like, who? Maurice Starr. He started New Edition. And do you know I ended up playing him?
No, really? Oh, in the New Edition movie, you was Maurice. Wow,
that's crazy.
That's crazy.
This was in 1996.
Right. Wow.
He did this a couple of years ago.
Right.
And the guy who produced it was my assistant who was running Beat. He's matter of fact, he's running the this year's Super Bowl.
Who is he? What's his name?
Jesse Collins.
All right, that was your assistant.
He's my assistant. Jesse used to write my job. Jesse used to work at the radio station. We got him at the radio station.
He sure did.
So he was like, man, I want to write in television. I'm like,
wow.
So I said, come over to the house. It was Thanksgiving. I had everybody over the house. I said, Robert, give this nigga a job. You want to be a writer? And Robert said, okay. And Robert, he hired him to be. He had to shadow some people. He did everything he had to do. He shadowed everybody, and then he started working with Laretha, and then boom, 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 and from there.
Now he's doing it. Yo, that Roscoe's on Gower, and I love that Adrian said that's why they made the Roscoe's on Gower. The Roscoe's on Gower.
I'm gonna tell you, Money. The guy that was with me was Jesse Collins at Roscoe's.
Wow, that's crazy. That night, that's crazy.
He was like, that's Maurice Starr. I'm like, Maurice Starr.
That's funny. I remember I seen Luther Vandross pull up in the rolls and just get the to-go order, which is like hella.
A house not home without chicken.
I remember there used to be a real sweet waitress, older lady.
Yes.
This dude at the front door who had a Jerry curl, I think, and he would take your name.
If you was in Roscoe, if you can get past that line in Roscoe's and get a seat like that, you was the shit.
That was me. That was my first. Listen, getting juice at Roscoe's was my first sign. I had nothing but social clout in LA. Look, when I was at UCLA, I took my now wife on our first date. I had no money. And my first date, because I knew the casting people, my boy worked on The Rock. So I took her to a taping of The Rock over there on Gower, right across from Roscoe's, actually.
Wow.
I went to see Charles Dutton, and that was my first date. But when you lived in LA in the 90s, like social clout and being able to get into Roscoe's or whatever the shit on Sunset we was talking about. I can't even think right now.
That was a date back then. It's like, be like, you pull up to the gate, see Stan Lathan. Oh.
Now, did you ever go to the Playboy Mansion?
I never went to the Playboy Mansion.
I never did either. No.
I never even was like, it looked nasty to me. Like, what are these there in a pool together? What are they doing? I'm like, they're down the street.
Right. But never.
On not Benedict, but Beverly Glen.
Right.
So at one point, I lived. I was married, and we lived on Beverly Glen. And they was like, the Playboy's Mansion. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
No, I never made it. Never got it. I did go to this club called Stringfellows in Beverly Hills, which felt like the Playboy Mansion.
I didn't need to go to the Playboy Mansion because I would go to parties at Dr. Dre's house.
There it is. Enough said. Full stop.
Boom, 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 boom. I mean, what?
I didn't get it. I wasn't there, so I missed that whole.
Trust me, Adrian. I'm pretty sure Adrian went. It was
Adrian's already. Yeah, Adrian. Yeah, for sure. Come on. Because
the pool parties, yes.
Yeah. because I had moved to New York by then, so I left. You know, my world became real New York, which was crazy. I was in New York, like, yeah, West Side. I was at the Biggie Platinum Party. I was at the Source Awards when Suge got on stage and you don't want your MC open the video. I was there. I was like, oh, we who riding out right now? We who riding? That was crazy. That was crazy.
Listen, I was at Fly on the Wall. We were talking about. Julian was talking about he used to manage Dallas. Remember?
Yeah.
And we had it was me, MC Breed, went over to because Dr. Dre should record in one of his houses in Malibu, and Colin Wolf was there working the Moog, and I was like, damn, what the hell? And they was doing, they were just doing all the shit. I was like, damn. And then he left, and then he went to Atlanta. With that for it was like an escape.
Right. He defected.
Him and Doc. It was like, yeah, man. It's crazy.
Crazy times. Crazy. Well, all right, look, let's touch on this lawsuit for a little bit, which is you're not connected on that. Look, it's all out there. You can Google it. Everyone's seen it. Essentially, Faizon suing Universal Pictures. They removed his image and likeness from all posters internationally. They did it years ago, and he recently sued them. It's all out there. I'm not going to belabor all of this because we've done it. We've talked about it. I'd like to skip to it's been probably about 10 days or so since the lawsuit's been out there. And when is Hollywood going to face its racism? You know what I mean? Like, you're the one industry. It's funny because, and not the music industry got it all figured out. Don't get it twisted. But Hollywood has been systemically racist for forever, And I find your lawsuit interesting. And the reason that I got so interested in it is because I'm a person who moves around the world. I have, a lot of global connectivity. Mm-hmm. I recognize the power in my Blackness when I'm in other parts of the world. It's amazing. I feel like, and I see why some of our stars went to Paris, and because when I'm in Paris, when I'm there, like, I feel like my Blackness is well received. I'm not saying France is not racist either. This is not meant to say these things. But what I will say about being Black American is that we wield a certain power globally. So what I found this lawsuit most interesting is like, it's pretty dumb, because if I was marketing a film and I wasn't putting Black people on the poster, that makes me look like an irresponsible marketer. And I don't know what I'm doing. I probably haven't traveled many places, because the scene that I see when I move around the world is a scene where, I'm kicking it with, European soccer stars and rappers in Sweden, and again, it's not a perfect place. I'm not saying it's perfect, but we wield the power that we wield from Dubai to Denmark, from Denmark to, around Dublin, we are, as Black Americans, what I'm saying? We are the straw, and we make things happen. So I just think, like, part of what you do a movie for is so that you can, make some royalties, yeah, but also expand your brand beyond America, right? So 2 parts to your lawsuit that are most interesting to me and fucked up at the same time. One, I don't know who the hell was marketing people at Universal at the time, but that's incredibly dumb to not market a film internationally. 2, it's incredibly fucked up to not be given the opportunity. I always used to say about Hollywood is I worked with Jane Fonda when I first started my agency. And I always used to say, this is years ago, you guys are so used to like depending on the agency or on the studio or on the record company or on the publishing company for your eyeballs. So you're like almost borrowing your eyeballs based on the movie. So when I first worked with Jane Fonda, she would say, "Why would I get on Twitter? I don't have a movie or a book." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm dealing with a conditioned star who only thinks she's relevant in cycle, like on cycle, right?"
Yeah.
And so there's this like weird dependency that y'all have, and I'm just saying y'all, I know, I'm putting it out there, that talent has, that they think they're not relevant unless they're in cycle. In cycle meaning that they're gonna be on the couch or gonna be, doing something, and so there's this weird conditioning. And so the lawsuit is, to me, as someone who's always stood up for the rights of the artists, is fucked up, because I know y'all have this feeling like, damn, okay, I got a machine behind me. I ain't got to go hire a PR person on my own because I got the Universal machine behind me. I can figure out how to make some bread outside of the US because I'm going to have a movie that does well in here and this country and this country. And that's the part for me where that's where I've stood up for you in this lawsuit. I don't give, like, it's 10 years ago. No shit, it's been 1,000 years of fucking of fucked upness in terms of Hollywood, and to me, that's what makes your lawsuit most important to me, is because we just continually are in this system. And my best friend's mother is Dionne Warwick. That's how I got in the business. Shout out to Dionne Warwick, who's making news this week. And I always felt like Black art. You see what Dionne was doing this week?
No. That's my partner.
Oh, David or Damon?
David,
yeah, David. David's managing mom now. Okay, so David, it was my best man at my wedding. Damon and David were both at my wedding. Yeah, it's crazy. I know. We got that house on Sunset and Elm in Beverly Hills was my Soho house. That was my original house. that was my only credibility. My friend lived in Beverly. I didn't know anybody lived in Beverly Hills. I didn't know any celebrities. That's how I met all the celebrities I know.
I don't know if this is factual. I think it is. But did you know that Corrupt is related to Dionne Warwick?
No. I'm going to ask David right now. No, I didn't know that. I thought you were about to tell me something crazy. You remember when she came out against the rappers or something? No, I didn't know Corrupt is related to Dionne Warwick. That's funny. No, I didn't know that. I'm texting now.
They did a record with Kumo D, Corrupt, and I was there, and the Corrupt put my name in the record. But I was there because it was like her way of
kind of making amends, making peace.
I think Corrupt and David put it together. Like that's my.
Oh right, that's right. David's wild. That's a wild boy. Okay, so anyway, on this last point, man. So now you know my lineage. Now you know where I come from. I mean, my first tours were Whitney Houston tours. Like I didn't see it all. That was a lot of, my entry into the business was through the lens of Dionne Warwick. And I owe a huge debt of gratitude to her and her family. But the one thing I remember is just like the exploitation of just the artists, man. And so that's really why I wanted to have you on today. And I know for those of you who are viewing, we probably spent a lot of time telling old LA stories, and you probably are like, but and today's show is running a little over what I normally do. Talk a little bit, about just how you're feeling about this lawsuit. I know you've been doing hella interviews, so I don't need you to give me the.
No, trust me. I mean, it's it was a wake up call.
Yeah.
I remember one time I'm sitting there. I'm not gonna talk. I'm talking to a person I know, and he told me that the film industry wasn't for Black people.
Right.
We weren't meant to be here. To my face. I was like,
this is a white person. Oh, right. Person we know. Yes. I just put it together. Yes.
Yeah, person there, definitely a white person. Definitely a white person.
Yeah, okay. I know what you're talking about.
And I was like, wow, that's deep.
Wow.
Things like, but in every aspect of this business, whether it be music or we were not supposed to be here. That's why I say, people say, they're gonna blackball you. I'm like, motherfucker, we was blackballed from the beginning. We ain't never been in.
Exactly.
Fuck you mean? I've been blackballed. Are you kidding me? So it was. I've been getting those little chips like in of who what this industry is.
Right.
And this one was hard because it's like I had to decipher did my friends know about this? And it's like just shut up and be quiet. I'm like,
right.
you try to not. I had a past of showing my emotions with my fist.
Right. Right.
I'm like, whenever I felt disrespected, I'm like, what you say, motherfucker? Even in the entertainment business, whatever. Like, there's not going to be any marches. So this time, I was like, damn, how do you go in there and kick your friend's ass?
Right.
How do you and then it's like, or did they have something to do with this? And it's like you're waiting for somebody to say, number one, hey, we apologize. I mean, this probably would have, if this would have been, we apologize.
Right.
Because there are no accidents in Hollywood.
Right.
There are none. Oh,
right.
You didn't get the memo?
Right.
You know damn well I get the fucking memo.
Right.
When you're supposed to be somewhere, you're there.
That's right.
So when this happened, the woman in my family, or my wife, and my sister, they're like, "What you gonna do?" And I was like, "I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't even know what the fuck. This is weird. This is a." I said, "I'm gonna talk to Vince about it," and then we had a conversation. The studio called me, like, they were like, what the hell? This, what? They're like, they didn't know. I'm looking at these motherfuckers like,
right.
Did you see this? Now I'm stupid. Okay.
Right.
So their whole thing was, we're gonna. I said, listen, I had a great time shooting this film. You know, John wrote this film. This is the second and third time John wrote a film specifically for me.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, he wrote May. May was his first film.
Right.
His second film was Elf.
Wow.
And he was like, yo, because Wanda Sykes was supposed to do it, and she dropped out, and he thought he couldn't put a black person in Elf.
Huh.
That was the whole thing why he was like, Amy Urban. We were sitting down at this dinner for five, and Amy Urban says, I can see Faizon in Elf. He said, well, I would love to put Faizon in Elf. But the studios can't see a black person in a Christmas movie.
Wow, that's crazy.
I'm probably the first black person in a Christmas movie. So
it's crazy.
John has always been my advocate, so I eliminated because he was pissed off when it happened. He didn't even go to a lot of the promos. He made an excuse like, hey, I gotta go work on Iron Man. Okay. Right. I gotta work on Iron Man. So, matter of fact, he was supposed to go to Sydney, and he's like, no, send Faizon.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing because I'm in Sydney with the poster with me not on it, and that's the first question when we do the injunctions. Why are you not on the poster? They said they ran out of black ink.
That's crazy.
So it's like, how do you play the game?
Yeah.
Is this the game that I'm not foreseeing? I'm not privy to. And it's so funny. I never told anybody this, but Suge was just getting out, and I went to go talk to him. I was like, "What the fuck should I do about this?"
Right.
So people around know I've been doing shit for years, right? So I go, he just got out. I go up to Death Row. He said, Faizon, let me tell you something, man. You one of the most underrated niggas out there. But it's because they see it on your face, something like that. I know what he was saying is like, they see you're not willing to,
right?
They see it,
right?
You're not one of them,
right? Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay. He at that time he was saying you need to do straight movie straight to video. You're gonna kill him,
right? And
this was when Tanya York was showing. I mean, they was making so much money in straight to video. It was
right.
Like, I'm telling you, get that wolf off your back. Do that. Do videos, right?
Right. I remember that. Yeah. Wow. But you were at the time. You're in the system, though. You're in the studio. Right?
Listen, there's only a couple names. There's only 5 black people. It's Eddie Murphy, Sam Jackson, Denzel Washington. It's only a couple of them.
Wow. Yeah. So going straight to video just sounds like some crazy shit.
Sound like crazy. Like I was like, maybe he just he get no. Like, no. So. I kind of was hoping he was like, they did what?
They did that.
Let's go to Universal and get some people laugh. So, it just did, and all these years dealing with it, it's in the back of your mind. I actually left LA.
Okay.
And moved to Ohio.
Oh wow.
Because I was like, this is crazy. Like I got divorced.
Why'd you move to? Where in Ohio did you move to?
Columbus, Ohio.
Why Columbus?
I went there to do a show, and I was like, there's no industry motherfuckers here.
Right.
This is motherfuckers eating fucking steak salads.
Right. It's a nice city. I hear it's a good city. Yeah.
Great time.
Great time. Yeah. So, college town.
Weather. I would drive around and observe people. And then the Star Wars movie comes out.
Okay.
With John Boyega.
Right.
And I'm like, whoa. This is huge. I'm thinking it actually lifted my spirit to see him in it, but it doesn't really, because George Lucas is one of my favorite producers. He's the number one say, fuck Hollywood, fuck them. I'm doing what I want to do. He it was no surprise But then I think they had took Star Wars from him at the time, and they took him off the international poster. And then I called my ex-wife. They did that shit again, and she's like, "That's a direct result of you not standing up for
Right.
You didn't stand up for Cali. You just kind of." I was like, "God damn."
Yeah.
So he was like, I was like, I called my Dennis. I was like, look, man, they keep doing this shit. Is this what the fuck is this? He's like, Dennis told me something that he said someone told him a long time ago. He said, Faizon, let me explain something. You'll never be let down if you live by these rules about white people. He says, I said, what? He says, they don't like your black ass. I was like, what? They don't like your black ass.
But you were the black friend in the system.
And that's what I was like, am I the black guy?
Did I become that guy?
Well, am I? But then I wasn't that to John.
Okay.
I know that for a fact. Because we have real conversations. Like he was mad about it. Like, we sit under the sukkah, under the tent, and we talk, and that comes up every year.
Mm. It still comes up. Yeah.
It's almost like he's saying he wished he would have said something.
Right.
But his way was like, okay, I'm not going to participate in the bullshit.
Right. That was his protest. That was his Black Lives Matter protest.
Right.
Before,
but yeah. So, and every film, I remember John writing a film for me, another film, movie called Chef.
Right.
Critically acclaimed, and I was like,
good movie.
I was so burnt out with the Universal shit. I said, John, I gotta do my own shit because, the studio gets a hold of this shit, and then what? He wrote it. He's like, he couldn't believe it. Like, this is the only film I ever turned down.
Wow.
Only film was Chef.
Any regrets?
Oh no, because at that point I said I wanted us to be. If we're generally friends, we don't need to work together.
Right.
So either we generally, I was like, let's just be family and not work.
Right.
And if we're going to work together down the line or something, maybe, or I don't want to be the oh yeah, what's the guy's name that they put him in
it's
Rob anyway, I didn't want to be the charity case. And it was like, it's not charity, motherfucker. I remember saying, this is not charity, motherfucker. You think I'm hiring you because of the motherfucker? You're good.
Yeah.
That's everything he always said. No, you're good, motherfucker.
Wow.
He's like, Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry was hot. I was like, I got to do some Tyler Perry shit. I got to do something. Because this whole, them taking me out posters and shit. This shit it can't go on.
Right.
I was telling him about Tyler Perry. He thought I was Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry.
Right.
It wasn't until we went to a special screening of Star Wars and George Lucas was there. And he knows I love George Lucas. I'm like, yeah, that's fucking George Lucas.
Right.
Then I met George Lucas's wife.
Right.
Like me.
Right.
I'm like, what the fuck?
You didn't know that? Yeah, I didn't even know that until later in life.
I'm like, what the fuck? So I was like, so we're in this circle. It's John. other director I work with on it's a Lindsay Lohan movie. And it's like 5 of us, and he's telling us about Red Tails. How he wants to do Red Tails, and the studio won't. They don't. Who we're going to put on the poster? That's what the studio told him. Who we're going to put on the poster?
Wow.
So that's a George Lucas. You do a movie about some black pilots. And he said, who we're going to put on the poster? You're doing an action movie with all black people? So he said, fuck them, and shot it himself.
Yep.
And put it out. And he said, you know what? He said, I'm going to take a page from Tyler Perry. And John went, I told you, Tyler Perry, motherfucker.
Yep.
So it's all these little jabs that have been going like this. Boom, boom. You see the poster. So I called Dennis, and Dennis did he said, man, I'm gonna put out a battle. I'm gonna see how many people these posters are out there. I'm gonna give I forgot it was $1,000 or something like that to see. And it was a flood of these posters still promoting the movie without my picture. Wow. He had to stop. Like, yo, whoa, stop sending these posters.
This is
a couple months ago. This is in September.
Wow.
He said, I can't believe they said they wasn't going to do this. It was a mistake, but they're still promoting the film like that without you on it. He said, you're missing out on so much money.
Right.
I was like, fuck these motherfuckers. He said, you know, if you do this, you may be banned. I was like, listen, Tyler Perry don't give a fuck about being banned. And I'm black. I was already banned. I wasn't supposed to be here. The dude told me that in the beginning, this business was not set up for black people. You can't ban me.
Right.
Ban me. I was already banned.
Right.
That's like letting the dog in the house.
Right.
It's like the dog's I'm gonna shit. Hell yeah, I'm gonna shit on the floor. I shit outside. I mean, listen. Maybe that's a bad analogy.
A little early. It's 9:30 a.m. PST. The dog shitting in my house right now wasn't a good thought, but no, keep going.
Your dog goes. See how your dog goes like, yeah, he's outside, guys. Get the fucking dog.
We don't let the dog outside. The dog's outside.
Right. So exactly. So I was like, am I a house pet?
Right.
So a lot of stuff had to go. And I started rebelling. I was doing this show with Kevin Hart, who's a good friend of mine. Kevin Hart, when he came to Hollywood, I did a movie with Brian Grazer. I'm going off a little bit.
Right.
Called Blue Crush. And Brian Grazer was like, dude, one day we sat on the beach and we were talking about music. We weren't talking about movies. And he's like, man, I love Wu-Tang. You fuck with Wu-Tang? He said, yeah, Wu-Tang ain't nothing to fuck with. It's coming out of Brian Grazer's mouth. He said, I love Wu-Tang. Like, we talked about music and all kind of, stylistics and all. Just music, just having a conversation. So when we finished the movie, he calls me. We get back. We shot the movie in Hawaii. So, I get a phone call. He said, Brian Grazer wants to talk to you. He wants you to come in the office. He said, Brian Grazer, you need a TV show. and introduced me to oh man, so Kevin, please forgive me. Very cool exec. You need a TV show. We're gonna create a TV show. You need a TV show. I was like, hell yeah. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. A week went by. He goes, come in the office. I come in the office. I'm sitting in his office. Kevin Nevins. Nevins. His last name is Nevins. I'm fucking shit up. His last name is Nevins. He says, Nevins. He says, Nevins says, we want to create a TV show. I'm sitting in the office. Little black guy comes in. And he's like, what's up? I said, hey, can I get a Coke? I'm thinking this nigga's assistant or some shit. I'm like, can I get a Coke? Coke, no ice. He said, oh, okay. They said, to Coke and ice. I guess so. Then they told Coke and ice. And he sits down. I'm like, I guess this nigga gonna take notes. And Brian comes in and says, oh, hey, Kevin, you met Faizon. Faizon, Kevin, you got something to do Kevin, we're putting a deal with Kevin. And I was like, hey, Kevin said he wants to work with Faizon. I was like, what is Kevin?
Who's this little boy? And where's my Coke?
What? Yeah. What's up? What the fuck? So I'm leaving there like, what the fuck? I thought it was going to be my show. Who the fuck is Kevin Hart?
Right.
No one knew Kevin Hart fucking 99, 2000.
Wow.
So I say that to say Kevin Hart, and we did the show. We had a great time. We've been friends ever since. But he told this producer, I want to work with Faizon Love. That's a great show. So fast forward to me rebelling. We do the show called Husbands of Hollywood.
Oh, you did the show? I didn't realize that.
It started out as a skit him and Nick did, and that Jesse Collins produced.
Okay, and our friend Chris Spencer wrote it. Right. Okay.
And it's all just comedians talking shit, and they say, "Hey, we're gonna do a series." Oh, whatever. Okay. All we do is, and then one day, matter of fact, I swear to God, I think it's this shirt here. See this shirt here?
Yeah.
They said, Faizon, you can't wear that shirt. I said, what? You can't wear that shirt. Fuck this! This is that universal shit. and laughed and sat. They're like, no, come back. Jesse's like, come back. It's like, no, fuck this. You guys go, no, fuck this. Fuck this. Fuck that. It was all in the back of my head, like, this is that same universal shit.
Right.
So certain films I would be like, nah, y'all just gonna do this. And so it kind of like, is it called PST or whatever?
PTSD. Yeah.
So everything was,
wow.
Fuck that shit. It's gonna be that same universal shit. How do I get my Tyler Perry on?
Wow. Okay.
So
right, because the new mature Faizon, the Suge route could have been one route, but
I was at a.
I mean, we grown. We ain't nobody doing that. It's like ridiculous.
So, of course, you know, they called me, Faizon, are you ready to do the show? You wear any shirt you want. But it's kind of like you said, what is it?
PTSD.
Yeah, I mean, we need to call something else for Hollywood.
Yeah,
treat me like a nigga. So
you've been Faizoned.
Yeah.
That's because really, I mean, really, and I say that joking, not joking, but just because when you talk about Boyega, you talk, and you and I just talked about the brother Denzel's son and Tenet. They doing the same thing to him. Right?
It don't stop until we say till we fucking stop it.
Right. Right.
It has to stop.
Yeah.
Disrespectful. You can be disrespected all your life.
Right.
If you let it.
Man tan. Dance. Tap dance. You're supposed to Man tan. Remember Man tan?
Nigga grapes. You talking about Spike Lee?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Them nigga grapes. Oh, watermelon nigga grapes.
Right. Oh, that's right. Nigga grapes.
So, that's where it is. It's like, disrespect. I'm only scared of one person, and that was my father.
Right.
So I'm like, why am I counting down to these motherfuckers?
Right.
You know, especially after I had my daughter, I was like, oh no. Nobody's going to ever disrespect her. Right. They're going to see a little bit of everybody, a little bit of Suge, a little bit of everything. It's like, no. They, no. Yeah. So that's where it really came from, is the building up. And that's why people say, why now? Because they're still doing it. Right. It's not stopped. It has not stopped. They're not. And it's so fucked up because we're asking them, we're fighting to make them more money.
It's crazy. Right.
We're fighting like, well, I didn't know exactly, I've been making the statement for years of you're black, people, oh, you're a black celebrity or whatever you call it. I was like, and I'm like, no, I'm just a nigga in movies. And then I go to South Africa. And we're shooting. I told you the story, right?
Yeah.
We're in South Africa, and the guy in the bush comes up from nowhere, and he looks like he's hungry, and he's, this thirsty. It's hot. It's literally 60,000 degrees. And he looks at me and says, "Big worm," and I'm like, I know damn well this motherfucker ain't got internet. Where does he get that from? So, I'm in the Heathrow airport, and I'm walking around. I'm sitting there eating sushi from. You ever eat in the sushi place with the shit goes around and sushi just comes to you like that? That shit fascinated me. I was like, this is a shit.
Right. It ain't always the best sushi, but the conveyor belt game is strong.
I'm like, yo, what is this? And the people were just taking. I'm like, what the fuck? And it's like, no, people are familiar with my face out here.
Right.
To hear a person from London say, Mr. Faizon Love, fucks your head up.
Yeah.
Because in America, you're big worm.
Right.
Mr. Faizon Love.
Well, it's like I told you, I went to Europe and with Jazzy Jeff, and they would run up to him and say, that sample you used in that Fresh Prince record from 93. I mean, they knew his work down to the samples.
Because they are studying and they love it. They're studying your shit.
Yeah.
And they love it. Do you think there's just by accident, there's better rappers in London than America.
Right.
Have you heard these niggas rapping?
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. They literally. I mean, to me, at this point, I mean, you think about acting, rapping, even look at basketball right now. Look at the cat. Listen, the cats to be afraid of right now is in Senegal. They 6'7". They gonna yam on you. Listen. The explosion of the league in Africa right now. It's about to begin.
What's my guy in China?
Yao Ming? No.
No. There's a brother in China bigger than Yao Ming from Brooklyn.
Oh, you mean Steph Marbury?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's crazy. That movie. I saw the documentary on Netflix about Steph Marbury. It's crazy.
I saw it too. I was like, yo. But here,
right.
He wants to think he's just,
Right.
I'm like,
the system kind of played him. If you remember that, they was like, oh, he's a bad boy. He's from Brooklyn. He went over there and killed it.
His own shoe, what makes it an affordable shoe.
Yep.
And they made it seem like he was crazy.
Yeah, they did.
So
yeah, man.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like it's awakening the age of Aquarius. Maybe
UFOs in the age of Aquarius coming soon.
This is the age of must be niggas waking up. I mean, because like
they are.
Okay, stop for the bullshit. Okay, enough of the bullshit.
Yeah, enough of the bullshit.
Enough of the bullshit.
Well, look, I could do this for hours. I gotta go make this bread. Thank you to all of y'all who tuned in to this week's.
How long do you normally do this for?
I do like an hour. we did an hour 42 that felt like nothing. This ain't Clubhouse. Clubhouse, we be on 4 hours, and you'd be like,
I fell asleep on Clubhouse.
I know you did. Because you know how I knew? Because the room conversation went from UFOs to mushrooms. And I was texting you like, do you hear the conversation? We didn't shift to the mushrooms.
The essence of how you see UFOs. What were you doing with your song?
That was amazing. That was amazing.
Okay.
Well, for those of you that are on Clubhouse, find us on Clubhouse. We are doing conversations all the time about UFOs, and we got to get this. This lawsuit probably could go on for years. I'm sure they're going to drag it out.
Of course.
They're going to drag it out. But it's an opportunity, I think, for you and for us and for all of us. And I love the Black Actors Matter movement tagline. We got to push that because it goes beyond black. You can put Black actors, Black athletes, Black, entertainers. It actually is all connected. And until we see that the struggle is interconnected and related, right? And still until you see that like the struggle is universal, the struggle is related, the struggles are connected to systems that have continued to oppress, hold us down, hold us back, then you're never going to, and I love that you have this interconnectedness of being in the 90s. I feel like, back to the original part of our thing, we came up through this interconnected galaxy where hip hop, fashion, actors, it was all interconnected. And if we lose that interconnected galaxy, right, we can't support the young hooper who's playing at UCLA, who, by the way, the NCAA with new rules, by the way, you talk about Ed O'Banion, and it was part of the lawsuit that took the NCAA to task. Now college kids can actually earn money while they're in college, and they can look at the ball kids. Look at the ball. The ball kids is making so much money.
It makes sense. College, you want them to pay this loan off, right? Or whatever what? Yeah. What do you mean you can ride my back and I can't do anything? I can't feed my mother?
Yeah. the struggle is all interconnected, and when you recognize the systems and you recognize the systems at play, and that's why I still talk about those 3-letter word agencies that sit in Century City and other parts of LA, who are in the game, and I put a lot of pressure on them because they need to have some folks walking down those halls, at CAA, ICM, IM, whatever, I'll name them all, UTA. And that's why I was joking, not joking, and saying they, whenever we get in this situation, they hire Bozema. Like, it ain't just about Bozema. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's an entire systemic change. And if you Bozema out there, if you are a Bozema, you know what I'm saying? I need you to ride. I don't need you to be the black friend inside Netflix or the black friend inside these companies. I need you to ride. Because, by the way, that's who I was as an executive at Sony Music. Like, I was the person like, nah, hell no. I remember Chuck D checked me one day for an artist. Yeah, he did. You don't want to be checked by Chuck D. It wasn't cool.
Hello.
He did. Chuck checked me though. But it was a good checking. You know what I'm saying? He's like, look, like, you letting this artist, there was an artist on his label, and I wasn't standing up for his artist in a way that he was like, man, you need to stand up. Because when you work inside these organizations, you are the Clarence Avant for the talent. So guess what? So I worked on Maxwell. One of the things I had to do for Maxwell was they was trying to put him out with a DAT tape and like not put him out as a band. And Maxwell was like, I am a band. I am Stuart Matthew Min, who produced Sade. I am a thing. I'm not Maxwell, just a singer. You throw me out and do Cameo, Soul Jam, Summer Jam. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm Maxwell. Yeah, and those of us inside the record labels were the fighters. We're the ones that would stand up on tables like, I will knock your ass out if you don't let the Fugees be the Fugees, or be, and if it wasn't for us in there, then these artists, these celebrities, these talent would be. So anyway, my last message as I close is, if you are a person of color and you're inside Windsor, stop worrying about your 401k and your Tesla. Like, it's not enough just to be focused on your salary. Stand up, fight for the rights of artisans, and stop being a Bia. You know what I'm saying?
Bia.
Stop being a Bia. And so, and that's my problem with the hiring. Just hiring black people and assuming that's fixing the problem. It's not just hiring black people. It's hiring people who are going to stand up. If you're black or you're white or you're yellow, green, Puerto Rican, or Haitian, it doesn't matter what color you are. When you see things are wrong in the system, you've got to stand up. And whoever the team was, I'm almost short of finding the team that worked on that movie, just call them out. And I'm telling you, and I speak from a lot of truth because I've been around, obviously, but I worked on Blackish. I told you. And there was another black PR firm that I worked with, and Kenya is like a black play cousin of mine, as well as and I didn't just work on it for the $50,000 you pay me per month or whatever y'all paid me. I worked on it because I was like, this is a problem. And I remember standing at ABC, and it was 12. There was 12 white executives, and they were like, we can't put this TV show out. We can't do this. Like, Donald Trump just sent a tweet, and he said there should be a show called Whitish. And their answer was, well, let's just call the NAACP. I was like, you know what? You don't have any other answers but to call the NAACP? Like, I'm telling you, I'm black. I'm going to tell you how to fix this problem. Anyway, so my point is, if you're black there, I have a following of people that work at record companies, film companies. Man, I'm telling you, Faizon, I keep it 1,000 too. Because guess what? My privileges, I ain't got a boss. I live in a beachside community overlooking the ocean, and I ain't got a boss. And that's why I like when you brought up Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry doesn't have a boss. I don't have a boss. Tyler Perry ain't got no boss. And when you live free and when you live in freedom, you stand up more, and you're not like, I'm not tripping on the system. You know what I'm saying? I'm not tripping on the system. I'm going to tell the system straight up, you have a problem. And I'm going to do that. I call out black people who use the race card wrong too. Don't get it twisted. It ain't just I'm calling. I had a partner of mine who called a white friend of mine a racist, and he got on TMZ and called this big white executive a racist. And I stood up for that white executive because I was like, that's fucking wrong. He might be an asshole, but he is not a racist. And when you levy if you're black and you're that costs you 4 downs in your jersey, in my book, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm just strong on like calling it out when it's wrong, whether it's white people doing something bad to black people, which happens more often, or even black people who run around using oh man, no, like you can't. It's a heavy levy.
I was smoking a joint that went to work and they fired me. That's some racism, no nigga.
No, nigga.
No.
Right. So I'm gonna spare this dude. I'm gonna spare this dude on my show. I'm not gonna say who he is, but I know if you watch this, you know who I'm talking about. And you shouldn't be levying racism, but at the same token, if you're racist, I'm gonna call you out too. If you're racist, I'm gonna call you out. And we just gotta this new notion of of letting shit slide. We can't let shit slide anymore. We really can't. And I appreciate you and you doing what you do and getting to know you has been incredible. I feel like I'm sure we've been kicked in the same rooms. And thank you for doing my show and making my show today an hour and 50 minutes.
Like I said, I can listen to you all day long, bro. Trust me.
Good.
Now Dennis is calling me. Look at this.
Your lawyer's calling you. What the hell are you doing on James' show?
Like,
all right, man. You have a good rest of the day.
Thanks, brother.
All right, peace.